like fire, igniting the track. Listen or leave it, your call tonight. Aaron's the storm, he's ready to fight. So brace yourself tight, prepare for the quake. Aaron had to say it, the truth won't break. Yeah, the truth won't break. I had to say, or else it would just go unsaid. Yeah, I had to say, or else it would just go unsaid. If you didn't get it from me, you'd hear it from some newsman instead. I may cuss and yell, but I know what I say is right. You know what, I will fucking yell, but I know what I say is right. So long as the world be fucking shit up, I'ma yell into this mic. Left or right, don't matter, I will call you on your shit. I said left or right, don't fucking matter, I will call you on your shit. If you decide that fucking up, the gorilla's gonna deal with it. Yeah, I had to say it, or else it will go unsaid. Yeah, I had to fucking say it, or else it will just go unsaid. If you didn't hear it yelled at the top of my lungs, you got fed a crock of shit instead.
The podcast you are about to listen to contains at least one of the following: strong language, disturbing topics, abusive opinions, generally things that aren't appropriate for little kids or overly sensitive people. So, if any of that stuff's going to get your nose out of joint, this is your chance to turn it off.
Feelings don't matter, so brace yourself tight. He'll lay it down heavy, he'll light up the night. No sugar-coated tales, just cold hard facts. In the realm of opinions, there's no turning back. Listen close or just walk away. But Aaron had to say it, come what may. Here comes Aaron with the truth untold. No holding back, watch the truth unfold. On the podcast, airways feel the righteous sting. You either take it in or let the silence ring.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of I Had to Say It. So we're going to start out like we do by saying to Iceman, Jason, Javier, Fitz, McShane, El Jefe, El Devlin, El Morte, to the guys from the Little Report, to Billy G, to Walt from the B-Rob Podcast, to Kate, the Duchess of New Jersey, to Boomer Bob, to George Fonz of the World of Blaze Podcast, to excuse me, Josh from New Hampshire, to Bill from Clock'em Craft Coffee, and to our most recent addition to the supporters list, Lisa. Thank you guys for the continued support. Sorry about the coughing and hacking. I don't know what it is. It's this fucking weather can't make up its mind, and it seems to be stuck in my goddamn throat. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. Don't really know if anybody's in the chat right now. It's been another week. There's a couple things to talk about. It's actually probably been a fairly significant amount of shit going on, but honestly, still got a lot of stuff going on in personal family stuff going on that has kind of kept me from focusing too much on the world at large. And instead, I'm just focusing on the things, I got to deal with myself. But yeah, I don't know, to point out something Bill said in the Discord after last week's episode where I said I don't have anything to really rant or rave about. Then he said, he had to pause the episode twice to take a breath because I was ranting and raving. It's fun. You should come join us in the Discord. If you want to join us in the Discord, you can go to ihadtosayitpodcast.com and click on the link to join the Discord server there. Or you can message me on any of the social media platforms that I had to say it pod. Or you can send smoke signals and maybe somebody will relay the message to me. I don't know. I'm not good at promoting things. Which brings me to the next thing I got to do, which is promote something. As you guys know, I've been kicking this around for quite a while here that I'm launching my Spice line company. I've got a Kickstarter up to go get money together to do the initial batches, to do the first run, to get all the things I need to paid for to get this company off the ground. And that company is called Ember Forged Spices. Now, I'm not going to try and say the whole referral link because it's dumb. So go to emberforgedspices.com and hit enter, and it'll redirect you to the Kickstarter until such a time as the funds are raised, at which point I will then switch it over to the pre-order website to pre-order product. And then the actual target for the product launch is targeted for August. Hopefully I'll get it done sooner than that, but I wanted to give myself enough of a window that once fundraising was done, I'd still have a couple months to get everything together before I actually opened up and launched. So that's where we're at on that. And again, I'll put the link in the show notes too. I verified that the one link that it works this morning to make sure that will be the website once the business is off the ground. Will be emberforgedspices.com. And so yeah, I initially I was just try and keep it kind of divorced from the podcast, and I'm still going to, but figure my listeners could, if you're interested in supporting me, helping me get that off the ground. We're already 84% of the way to the goal. We just got to get that last little bump to get all the way over the finish line. And anything extra on top of that will be dedicated towards, the more money we make, the sooner I can get more than the initial 4 flavoring offerings out to market. So that's kind of the plan. If we get additional money up above and beyond the initial ask, it's going to go into, resources it'll accelerate the timeline for improving the business and bringing more things to market, basically. And yeah, so that's all the shilling stuff I have to talk about. There were a few goings-ons this weekend. Nothing that was, like I said, we've been occupied with other things around here, so it's but the world does what the world does, and I can't avoid certain things, so I'm going to touch on them at least kind of briefly. One of the things that's going on is there has been some actual combat in Mexico. I'm bringing this up because Bob put it at the forefront of my mind, and I want to talk about it before I lose my thoughts on the matter. Watching the Boomer Bunker, where Boomer Bob happened to mention that Aaron will talk about it on his show because they didn't talk about it on the Boomer Bunker tonight. And that's the cartels are basically going to war with the Mexican federal government at this point. And U.S., the SEAL Team 2, I believe it is in country now in Mexico to advise and I suppose do some training and stuff for the Mexican military to help stand off against the drug cartels, because based on a lot of the reports and some footage I've seen, and I mean, it's a whole different kind of war than what people my age and older are used to. And, these cartel guys are like, shooting TikToks on their phones while they're getting in gunfights with the fucking federales. So you get some pretty interesting footage out of these cartel things, and I'm not going to tell you where to find it, but you can go out there and find it without trying too hard. And these cartel guys, they're kitted out. They look like SWAT teams. They look like full-on combat units, because that's what they are. Anybody that's out there trying to say that the drug cartels are not organized criminal organizations, or anybody that's making excuses, up to and including the fucking president of Mexico, who always finds some way to kind of try and equivocate and make excuses and say it's not as bad as I think it is. When you have drug cartel members who are better armed than the fucking Mexican military, you may really want to rethink your statement saying you don't need help and it's not as much of a problem as people are trying to make it out to be, because it seems a little disingenuous when your special forces are getting gunned down by the cartel's street soldiers because they're better equipped, better trained, and just more willing to do the shit that needs to be done to resolve violence. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at on that. Like I said, haven't been paying super close attention to it. Saw some fucked up videos of, young military age men, the same ones that Biden was letting in across the border writ large, out there fucking up professional soldiers in very high intensity combat between both sides. It was kind of nuts. So yeah, that was the first thing that I wanted to talk about. Just like I said, just touching on it briefly because I didn't really watch too much of it. A lot of things going on. There was some awards show that I could give less of a shit about, apparently. I only found out about that because they mentioned it on the bunker. Because I don't fucking care about award shows, don't care about celebrities, don't care about masturbatory circle jerks, self-celebrating horse shit that these assholes do to make themselves feel more relevant and more important than they actually fucking are. So fuck them. It doesn't really matter to me. Thirsty. Has probably to do with the coughing because I can feel another fit coming on. I know it's bad form to drink on podcasts, especially when it's a solo dolo kind of deal where you're talking to yourself and you're talking into the void. And I'm supposed to be talking to you guys, but what I'm actually doing is just ranting and raving. And every time I feel a tickle come on, I take a sip because I don't want to have to edit out a whole bunch of coughs. And you guys need to sit here and listen to me choking like some fucking asshole. But I digress. So next thing that came up, in the constant ongoing cycle of horse shit that is this country's political circus, there was more of the usual bullshit. Gavin Newsom's out there trying to pander. He's doing everything but governing his fucking state because, of course, he is. He's out there trying to, convince people he's making a run for the next presidential nod from the Dems. He really is. There's no ifs, ands, buts, or alternative ways to interpret his fucking behavior. Now, that being said, he's not particularly fucking good at it. And the fact that he's probably going to get votes out of people just is a commentary on how fucking stupid some people really are, because this guy is not, I don't understand how he got elected to be a mayor other than the fact that he was, well financed, backed by the right people, and he's just a slimy fuck that convinced a bunch of people he was the guy for the nod. And then after being an abject failure as the mayor of San Francisco, what do Californians do? But they elect him as governor because, as I said, stupid motherfuckers do stupid fucking things, and these people in California are apparently fucking retarded. I'm sure the public school system there is almost as effective as the public teachers union in Chicago in terms of churning out fucking retards, because retards that do what they're told are way more important than critical thinkers or people who can, read. So, a lot of people say, oh, well, the Democrats are only winning because they're cheating, and the Democrats are only winning because of election fraud. Now, well, I don't doubt that election fraud is fucking rampant in blue areas, particularly states where a lot of people are sitting there saying, well, it's just we have these really dense population centers and they can carry the whole state and if they win 2 or 3 counties. Yeah, that may be true, but I don't think there's any shortage of retarded motherfuckers. He says a lot of the magic words, rich people pay their share, reparations for poor pissed upon descendants of who knows, because very few people in this country that are whining and bitching about reparations will actually have a legitimate claim to them or can prove that they have any sort of claim to them. I'm sorry, it's just the records aren't there, and it's not just because you got the red pigmentation you're automatically deserving of a fucking check for something that may or may not have happened to somebody that kind of looked like you before anybody you ever knew was born. And, people will say that I say that shit and, oh, well, you're a racist. No, I'm not. I'm really not. I just don't believe that people deserve handouts for a fucking thing. People shouldn't deserve anything for that. Yeah, it was a shitty situation. It was a horrific fucking, thing for people to enslave other people. And it's still happening up to today. So I'm getting really tired of people trying to fucking wave that particular flag in this country when, we're really the first Western nation that fucking ended it. We are definitely, it's not relevant here. We are not a country that endorses slavery when there are still countries actively participating in it now. So the whole, anytime some retard brings up reparations, I know they're not a serious person because they're fucking stupid. But yeah, and I don't even know how I got onto that fucking sidetrack. That had nothing to do with what I was talking about, other than Gavin Newsom's a slimy fuck, who realistically, in his dedication to pandering and just being full of shit, basically put that Democrat fucking racism of low expectations out there right up at the front when in a thing where he was in, I think he was in North Carolina. But anyway, doesn't matter where he was. He was at some fucking, it was, primarily a black audience, and he basically, and the thing is, this won't be a deal breaker. This will not be the thing that fucking ends his career. Now, if he was conservative and he said this shit, it would be a fucking death toll for his fucking career. But he basically said, yeah, hey, I'm just like you guys. I can't fucking read. I got a 940 on my fucking SATs, and I can't read. You'll never see me reading off a script because I have a problem with words. I'm just like you guys. So basically, what he was saying is, again, the Democratic low expectations, the prejudice of low expectations. Black people apparently can't read, have low SAT scores, and are, just like that. And then instead of just owning up to the fact that he said something fucking ignorant, he backpedals and he starts talking about, oh, well, sure, talk shit about me because I have dyslexia. Nobody's talking shit about you because you have dyslexia. People are talking shit about you because you said black people can't read, so you're just like them because you can't read. And you didn't bring up dyslexia on stage. You didn't say, I'm dyslexic, so I can't function. You said, I got a low-ass fucking SAT score, and I'm just like y'all because I can't read. I mean, and people will still vote for this fucking retard. The fact that he could say that shit and then try to play the victim when he gets called out for saying some ignorant, racist, stupid, mouth-breathing shit. Because Gavin, for whatever reason, was, he was a pretty boy in school. He didn't put in any effort. I'm sure he did get a 940 on his fucking SATs because he probably didn't phoned in everything. And he blames dyslexia when people say, oh, well, there's this thing that makes people not be able to read and think so good. But at the end of the day, the motherfucker probably was just lazy and entitled because he just seems like the fucking type. He's a slimy fucking sack of shit, and I hate him. He's one of the worst governors in the country. Now, I say one of because a lot of people would argue that he's the worst governor in the country, but I live in Illinois, and I have a bloated, pasty, jelly-filled fuck muppet of a governor myself that is doing his damnedest to take the fucking crown of worst fucking governor in the country. And he managed to do things in the course of his terms that I am flabbergasted by, that this asshole thinks he's got a chance at trying to run the country too. Because that's the thing. That's what they're doing. My governor's out of state just as much as fucking Gavin is, because they're out there trying to work the road and try and get the nod that they're going to be the fucking next Democratic presidential nominee. And I swear to God, it's a horrible fucking state of affairs if either one of those assholes gets elected, because look at what they've done to their shithole states. Gavin Newsom took what is effectively one of the largest economies in the world and is running a $56 billion deficit this year. J.B. Pritzker, no fucking better. I think our deficit was $52 billion or $53 billion. And Illinois has the highest individual tax burden in the fucking country. I mean, there's no way to mince words. Both of these men are horrible fucking retards who have no fiscal sense, never met a fucking tax they didn't like, never met an expense they wouldn't sign the fuck off on, and never met an excuse they wouldn't fucking make when they get called on their fucking bullshit. It's utterly fucking trash. It makes me fucking sick. And as long as I'm talking about things that make me fucking sick. So I went to the gym this morning because reasons, got to be somewhat healthy. Go to the gym. It's pretty much the only time I ever watch broadcast TV anymore is when I'm at the gym. And I don't do it on purpose. I think it's a case of I do it because they're fucking on. And when the power is fucking on and the TVs are fucking on and everything's working, it's there. I'm on the treadmill. I'm usually not paying real good attention. I have my earphones in. I'm listening to a podcast. I'm listening to fucking music. I'm not paying attention to what's on the TV, but I look at the pictures, and the pictures are, shiny distractions while I'm suffering on a fucking treadmill because my fat ass needs to get my heart rate up. And so I was watching the TV this morning, and out of everything that was on the TV, it was probably, I'd say 85 to 90% of the ads. Like, I think I saw one ad for fucking Ozempic, but almost all the ads on the TVs, on every TV in the fucking gym today, were fucking political ads for various candidates. I mean, almost all of them are running for the Senate seat ads. Not a single one of them was a conservative a conservative ad. They were all Democratic candidate for this, Democratic candidate for that. All the assholes that are running for Dick Durbin's fucking spot because he's decided this is going to be his last term in Congress, and good fucking riddance to that worthless fucking sack of guts. But at the end of the day, it's the ads themselves show you exactly why. The fact that people will still vote for these fucking retards is beyond me, because the ads are some of the most vapid fucking virtue signaling horse shit you could possibly fucking imagine. And they think that this is what's going to get them elected, because they're not trying to appeal to the entire state. They're running these ads aimed at the fucking Chicago political machine, and that's fucking it. Every single one of them. Not a single proposition, not a single plan, not a single fucking thing that is going to try and set this state back on course to be a decent fucking place. Every fucking candidate had two things they brought up. Fuck Trump, and everybody else is closer to Trump than I am because they take money from Trump backers. Now, if you do the analytics, I'm not doing deep dives on it, but pretty much every last one of them has taken money from somebody at some point that also kicked money to Republican candidates or MAGA candidates or however you want to look at it, because in a lot of ways, financial backers of political candidates hedge their fucking bets. They'll throw money at both fucking sides. It's not a complicated concept, but these morons sit out there pandering to the fucking low IQ, mouth-breathing retards that are going to go out there and vote for them. And they don't have to sell it real hard to the dead fucks that'll vote for him, because, in Illinois, if you don't vote Democrat while you're alive, there's still a really good chance you will after you're gone. But that's a whole nother fucking conversation. But these morons, up to and including JB's fucking lieutenant governor, Juliana Stratton, who's an absolute fucking retard. She's dumber than he is. She was insurance. She was more than just pandering to get the, hey, look, I have a black female lieutenant governor. Look how progressive I am. She's also a fucking idiot that nobody in their right mind would do anything to get JB out of there to put her in place, because she's a goddamn idiot. And now she's running for Dick Durbin's Senate seat with the full endorsement of her boss. And her whole thing was, oh, I'm not taking PAC money. I'm not taking money from anybody. I didn't take any money. Now it's been proven she's had donors that also supported Trump's presidential campaign. And that was brought out by some of her political opponents in the Democratic Party. And, all these smear ads, all this bullshit where it's like, oh, well, they took money from Trump backers. Well, they took money from Trump backers. Well, when I get elected, I'm going to make sure we get rid of ICE. And when I get elected, I'm going to stand up to Donald Trump. Not a single one of them has any kind of merit or plan behind their fucking talk spot other than fuck Trump. And these assholes are like, these guys won't fight Trump like I'll fight Trump. And it's fucking pathetic. And the fact that we're in a state where this is considered effective political strategy to these people, it makes me concerned for the future. It makes me worry for my theoretical grandchildren that will someday have to deal with the after effects of these fucking retards being in positions of authority. And realistically, I don't know. I always hope and pray that we're going to see some kind of shift. I mean, they're talking about, there's a massive movement in Chicago of people that are saying we're not voting Democrat anymore because the Democrats ain't done shit for us besides bring in fucking illegals. And there's a whole bunch of people in Chicago that, they're talking about, oh, well, yeah, this is going to be it. And, we can't keep taking this incompetence, and we can't deal with, this, that, and the other. And to reference the kind of incompetence they're talking about, the city of Chicago has lost the Chicago Bears. A case is, is realistically is hard to believe. How incompetent? I mean, nobody hears Bears and thinks, well, I bet you they'll be great in Hammond. Out of all the teams that have picked up and relocated out of the NFL over the years, nobody thought the fucking Bears were going anywhere. They're a fucking institution. They were a sketch on the Saturday Night Live for years because of how many people were from, Second City Comedy Troupe back when Saturday Night Live was still funny. And it's utterly ridiculous that, do you know how fucking incompetent the city of Chicago has to be run to lose the Chicago fucking Bears? Do you know how bad the fucking governor's got to be that he endorsed the retard that lost the Chicago Bears? And he was arrogant enough to say, the Bears aren't going anywhere, literally the day before they released the announcement that they're relocating to Indiana due to more favorable tax positions and, better rates, and the city's willing to work with them and the state's willing to work with them. And Illinois is not willing to do that because we were being run by a bunch of retards who can't deal with the fact that they need to stop spending money they don't have on shit they don't need because it's not working for them. They're literally alienating their voter base on behalf of party politic line and fucking importing illegals to replace the fucking minorities that they've disenfranchised and lost the support of, which is what traditionally held Chicago and subsequently Cook County and subsequently Illinois in general in a state of Democratic control. So it's, I don't know, it's frustrating. It'll be interesting to see how the elections play out this cycle, but I can't say I'm super hopeful. Like I said, it's just morons everywhere we look, and Brandon Johnson, who's underwater in approval ratings. Basically, he's last I checked, he was at like 7%. I think based on the last numbers I looked at, 7% approval rating. He's pissed off that nobody's endorsed him to run for re-election, which just shows how completely detached he is, because he's a prime example of everything that's wrong with the left right now, because every time he gets up in front of a camera, every time he opens his mouth in front of a microphone, and I 110% guarantee he does not have an original thought rolling around in that retarded commie head of his, because he spews the same rhetoric as his default. If you catch him off guard with an unscripted question, he will stutter, stammer, and then fucking equivocate without any fucking actual message getting delivered. And his talking points are vapid and stupid and very shallow and surface level. He doesn't actually address any of the fucking very real problems he's responsible for as the mayor of that fucking city. But he will make a point of highlighting his pigmentation and blaming white people for everything that's wrong. Everything that is defaulting under his city leadership is the problems of systemic racism and fucking bigotry and not having enough community programs to embrace and enhance the black community. But when actually put in a position to do things for the black community, he does what he's fucking told, and he doesn't actually do anything for the fucking communities besides make excuses and fucking waffle. And yeah, he's a full-on puppet. He is a brain-dead, vapid, yammering mouthpiece. He was placed by the fucking CTU. If you need proof of that, look at the percentage of Chicago's city budget that goes to the Chicago's teachers union. And people want to talk a lot of shit, saying, "Oh, well, they need to educate the kids and blah blah blah." And if you have a problem with this, you're opposed to the children and you're against the future. No, what I'm opposed to is all the bureaucracy and bullshit that the CTU gets up to that has fuck all to do with educating kids. They're not educators. They have no right to claim that title. They are fucking activists. They are indoctrinators. They will go out of their way to take kids to ICE protests, but the kids can't fucking read or count. They put out signs that are utterly retarded, like poorly written, grammatically erroneous fucking signs being held up by the teachers of these students to go to protest. It's fucking pathetic. And then the CTU's out here bitching that they need to tax the billionaires because they're not paying their fair share, because the CTU needs more money because the $56 billion they got in the budget last year isn't enough. or I'm sorry, no, I believe CTU's budget was $52 billion this year. Either way, it's a monstrous chunk of change out of the state budget that goes to this one set of fucking clowns that are utter failures at their job. They can't actually produce. I couldn't tell you the last time they produced a graduating class that tested or read at level. Period. Like, maybe, I mean, there's always some outliers. There's always some kids that are going to be naturally a little better off. They're going to test better. They're going to be a little smarter. But for the most part, CTU puts out kids that are fucking like graduating high school, illiterate, unable to count, unable to do basic math, and that have to go into remedial classes on the off chance they do manage to get into a college or even a community fucking college. Community colleges are like fucking, how did Chris Rock say it? They're the fucking disco of the education world. Anybody can get in if you got $20 to get in the door. It's not like, and if these kids are too fucking dumb to take classes at community college, it's a joke. I mean, not that education's for everybody, but I'm just saying these children are being fucking taken advantage of and hung out to dry by the fucking CTU trying to line their fucking pockets. They have administrators, the president of the Chicago Teachers Union, who does fuck all besides make excuses and protest shit and be a political activist, and they're paying her over $250,000 a fucking year. It's utterly fucking retarded. There are many, many teachers in the CTU, because they kiss the right asses, they repeat the right rhetoric, and they fucking say the right things, that are making six-figure salaries when they have not produced a student that could fucking read in months, years, decades. It's just, it compounds, and it's fucking, it's the whole system needs to be burned down. It really does. It's fucking pathetic. It's utter, they're failing the kids and then blaming everybody but themselves while they spew their retarded commie rhetoric of, we need more of other people's money because it's not fair that they have it and we don't, even though we're utter fucking failures. And obviously they're not, or they wouldn't have the money, because those are the kind of people that are attracted by this ideology. The people that, if actually made to stand on merit, would be fucking destitute. Yeah, they love communist ideals. They love the idea of taking other people's money to pay for their failures, because they don't want accountability. They don't want educated students, because educated students would see right through their bullshit and they wouldn't have the support of the system anymore. So yeah, it behooves them to put out retards that can't read, can't talk, can't think, can't count, can't do anything except for fucking what they're told by their fucking indoctrinating leftist fucking retard teachers. It's I mean, it's a shame, really, because the kids deserve better, but they're not going to get it. And meanwhile, you'll have people who should be sane and logical individuals championing these assholes because, you know, Orange Man bad, or because, well, you know, some white guy said this, and so we have to support that because otherwise they're racist, or whatever other retarded fucking brain-dead theology people get behind that make them, you know, not only support but defend this shit. I've gotten to the point where I'm so sick of it. I don't care what people think of me anymore. It doesn't matter. If you're going to defend a failing system, I don't respect your opinion. So it doesn't matter what you think you're going to bring to the table to try and change my mind. It doesn't matter how you think you're going to spin it as to, well, you know, we have a responsibility to take care of the kids, but you're not taking care of the kids. You're defending a system that is failing the children and doing it in a self-righteous fucking manner because you think, oh, well, we have to defend this because it's for the kids. If we don't fund the kids. And you've gotten so hung up that you've lost the forest for fucking trying to see the trees. You think that this is the fucking answer. The fact that the system that's failing these fucking kids is what you're defending is completely lost on people because they're fucking stupid. And they're self-important, and they're convinced they're not stupid. They think they're smarter than the average fucking bear because they're parroting the same lines that, oh, well, we're doing this for the kids, or we need to fund this for the kids, or it's for the future of the country because the children are the future, or any other stupid shit. That anyone who refuses to say these assholes need to be held accountable for their fucking failings and their shortcomings is a fucking retard. That's all I can think of. And the fact that they put the king of the retards up as the mayor of the fucking city of Chicago just, you know, goes to prove that that's the way it is. Excuse me. Whew, yeah, so I didn't expect to be going off on the CTU today, but why the fuck not? It is what it is, and it feels accurate. Beyond that, a couple other things going on. Chip Roy, still not one of my favorite politicians. I don't really have favorite politicians, as I've discussed ad nauseum. But he did say something I agree with this week. Honestly, I'm still not real good at remembering to pull clips and shit. I tried doing it, but then I got caught up having to do some other things before I started the show and didn't get around to it. But Chip Roy said something this week that I actually completely fucking agree with. And basically, he said we might as well just replace everybody in both houses of Congress because they're not working for the American people and they should all be fucking replaced. I don't have a problem with that take. That is a statement from a politician I will actually endorse and get behind. American politicians are failing the American people, and every last fucking one of them needs to fucking go. Full stop. The end. No salt, no fucking chaser. It's the way things are. It's the fucking truth. And yeah, so that makes me happy. Now on to other news, because it's, again, it's chaotic here in my brain, but this is the way I do things. You guys should be used to this by now. If you're new to the show, hey, welcome aboard. I did have a few people on X that were saying they were going to check out the show. So if you're a first-time listener, hi, hope you enjoy it. If not, there's a shit ton of other episodes in the catalog you can go check out, or you can just, hate me and never come back. I'm going to keep doing what I do either fucking way. But yeah, so the other thing I was going to talk about, at least briefly here, is so the Olympics are going on right now, which I really don't care about too much to see a Winter Olympics. Other than, there's some high quality memes floating around the internet because of it, and, Instagram reels and stuff where they're making jokes about, what's it called? The skeleton sled race or whatever, something like that. And, making comments about just kind of, it's kind of, I've seen some reels about like the women's speed skaters and stuff like that, because they wear those like ultra tight compression suits, which obviously they're athletes, they're toned, they're in good shape, they probably, a lot of them have really nice figures, I'm sure. I don't, like I said, I don't know, because I'm not really fucking watching the Olympics. I don't actually care, but I did see some clips because people clip things, and apparently these compression suits compress like a motherfucker, because there's a few like speed skaters in particular that I'm thinking of where they get done with their speed skating thing and they're all sweaty because these like ultra tight neoprene outfits that compress the shit out of you, but they also don't breathe. So they take them off so they can start breathing again. And they're just like, bloop! Oh, look, this chick that was built like a 10-year-old boy with her speed skating outfit on, all of a sudden has a pair of double Ds. And it's just funny because, I am a gigantic gray haired 12-year-old boy in a lot of ways, and shit like a chick unzipping her top and big old boobies popping out with a stupid sound effect on it is going to make me laugh every fucking time. I'm not going to apologize for it because I'm juvenile and I think it's fucking funny. And I don't get offended by jokes, which makes me happier than a lot of fucking people in this world, because being able to laugh at shit is what keeps me from having an ulcer. That and ranting into a microphone once a week for therapy. But mostly it's because, it's like a t-shirt I saw at one point said, you found it offensive, I found it funny. That's why I'm happier than you. It's an accurate sentiment. I truly, with all my soul, believe that, because I can laugh at shit and still find things funny. I'm happier than your miserable motherfucker who's always walking around looking for something to be offended by. It sounds exhausting to me. I'll never understand that mentality of people who go around looking for shit to be insulted by, looking for shit to be offended by. It just sounds like so much fucking work to be miserable all the fucking time. That's no fun. It's a goddamn travesty, I tell you. But yeah, so anyway, so on to the Winter Olympics before I started talking about these stupid reels that make me giggle because again, like I said, I'm a giant man child. But the hockey games were this past weekend for the Olympics. Hockey is one of the few sports I actually still enjoy watching on a regular basis. It's always been good for me. I've always liked watching hockey. I especially since I've stopped watching football and baseball, and watching golf is kind of like watching competitive lawn mowing, so it's not really something I enjoy watching golf. I'll watch golf live, I'll play golf, but I don't enjoy watching it on TV. But yeah, so I love a good hockey match, and I forgot that the hockey match was this weekend. So I've only seen highlights of it. It looked like it was a hell of a game. I mean, then a lot of people were talking about all this shit. Oh, it was a low-scoring game. It wasn't any good, blah, blah, blah. No, low-scoring games are fucking amazing because that means the goalies are fucking working their asses off, or the all the rest of the team is incompetent. But when you're talking about Olympic caliber games, no, I'm sure the goalies were working their fucking asses off. And based on everything I've read, seen, and heard, yeah, they were, the goalies were the fucking stars of the show because they were stopping fucking everything. And Team USA broke down, every power play that the fucking Team Canada had. Now, and yeah, that was the gold and silver playoffs. The finals were this weekend. And it was Team Canada versus Team USA, women's hockey and men's hockey this weekend. And Team America won both sides. So, get fucked, Frostbacks. We win, haha. You invented a game and we got good at it. So, neener. But ultimately, it was, like I said, I saw a bunch of shit talking online prior to the game and then forgot about the game because it was early in the fucking day and my brain doesn't turn on until about 11:30 in the morning. So, half the people watching hockey at that point in the morning were already fucking drunk and I wasn't one of them. But so, yeah, a lot of people in Canada talking shit, posting pictures of Canadian geese fucking up, Americans and stuff like that and just all this dumb shit. And they all got to eat a little fresh fried crow with their fucking Canadian goose when America won. So, yay, America, go team. And it was actually really refreshing because the American hockey player who scored the winning goal, missing 3 fucking teeth, skating around with an American flag wrapped around his shoulders, says something where he's like, this is not about us. It's about America. I'm thrilled to be playing, like actually proud to be an American, not like the fucking, skiers and all the other fucking little latte sipping Fruit Loops that are out there fucking, oh, well, I'm not real proud of my country at the moment. And I've said this before too. You're there representing your country. You shouldn't be saying anything other than I'm proud to be here representing my country, not weighing in on your 28-year-old brain-dead opinions on politics in this country, not giving us the I'm stoned because I do fucking Olympics snowboarding and I have opinions at 22 years old. But like I said in a previous episode, I don't think that was really fair because nobody's asking the fucking, Zambia Bob team what they think about anything. The reporters only ask American athletes that shit. Nobody's asking the other fucking countries that. So it's horseshit. They're all trying to get, the athletes to dump on Trump and bitch about ICE or whatever the fuck else is going on. And it's not fucking happening with the hockey team. Or actually with the little girl that won the ice dancing or figure skating or whatever the fuck they call it. I don't know. It was the girl who won gold for America was actually asked to come skate for Team Japan, which happens because she's of Japanese descent. And she said, no, I'm an American and I want to skate for America. And she won. And she was like in tears as they were raising stars and stripes. And it's not all fucking doom and gloom out there, I guess is kind of where I'm getting at with this. But it was very fun for me to see the Serapeans lose their coveted title, particularly when like the America versus Canada games that they were playing earlier. It was, back and forth where I believe Canada wound up taking the W on that one, but hey, that's okay. We got the gold, so neener. And honestly, that's really about all I've got ready at the moment in terms of things I'm thinking about. I'm gonna do I still don't have any more promos in terms of other podcasts that I want to play during the while I open up the chat thing here. I keep mentioning this. Other podcasters, I know you listen to the show. Get me a promo. I need more promos. Get me a fucking promo, people. And so I'm going to play a promo here. And let's see. I think it's Boomer Bunker's turn. And so I'm going to play the Boomer Bunker promo. And y'all, I'm going to open this up to the chat. Let's hear what you got to say.
Tired of watered-down takes and safe comedy? Step inside the Boomer Bunker, where John Jamingo and the Duchess blow the doors off the news, sports, and pop culture with raw opinions, sharp humor, and zero apologies. From political chaos to viral nonsense, no topic is off limits, and no feelings are spared. Join Jamingo and the Duchess, Monday and Thursday nights at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. All show links can be found at boomerbunker.com. So grab a drink, strap in, and become a bunker dweller.
All right, so there's an ad for the Boomer Bunker. You should go check them out if you haven't. I don't know how you haven't at this point. I've been talking about them every week for the last fucking year. So, yeah, I haven't really seen anything in the chat here, so I'm going to scroll back through the chat and see what I missed while I was talking. It's riveting podcasting for all involved, I'm sure. Let's see. Bob says I should expand the spice line to include cocktail glass rim garnishes. You know what? That's not a bad idea at all, Bob. I'm sure we could come up with some good ones, actually. I've got a bunch. Let's see. That context. Hey, John, glad you're here. Glad the power's back on. Everything worked out. Let's see. Chef Tristan says, I don't think governors should be presidents. I agree with you. I don't think they should. I think our political system's way too inbred. It's, oh, well, first they're the governor, then they're the president, and then they're a senator, and then they're this, then they're that. I really think that it's a case of these motherfuckers, do your hitch and then go back into the real world so you can deal with the consequences of what happened while you were in office. I don't believe politicians should be a fucking career for anybody. It's fucking ridiculous. Let's see, comment from Bob. Just a thought, Bonnie Blue could hook up with Maury, do 3 years worth of episodes, Finding the Father. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, I guess famous, how depending on how your standards work. Porn star Bonnie Blue, who's a OnlyFans broad who gained renown for getting gangbanged by 1,000 people in 24 hours, has announced that she's pregnant after getting gangbanged by 400 guys, and she doesn't know who the father is. So they're doing DNA testing on these 400 fucking guys to try and find out who the baby daddy is. And Bob, you're right. That's a couple years worth of content for Maury, at least. On the other hand, it's not like she's going to run off crying like all the other tired heifers on Maury do when they find out they're not the father. She'll just go, next! So, yeah. Let's see. Back. Steve from Razor Wire. Hey, Steve. Yeah, no, you're right. Teachers Union totally got Brandon placed. He was a fucking idiot. He was just propped up by their money and their influence. He's a putz. Let's see, another comment from Chef Tristan again, probably when I'm ranting about CTU here. It's a shame because his education, he graduated in 2016. Young fella. He saw the system preparing him to be low-skilled meat grinder, but now it's worse. Yeah, I believe that. Let's see. Let's see. Kate said, thank you for running the Boomer Bunker promo, which, my pleasure, Kate. Love to do it. Let's see. Lorenzo, I'm inclined to say I'd be okay with that. Lorenzo says, only he should ever be president or emperor. It'll be fine. Trust him. At this point, I'd get on board with that. I'm pretty sure I could talk my way into a decent position in the administration, so I'd be fine with that. Or, or I could be president too. I mean, it would probably be a little messier if I got in, but, that's I think it's just because we're different flavors of unhinged, so it would be entertaining to say the least. But, yeah, I don't know. So if there's nothing else from you guys in the chat, we can get to the recipe, I guess. Again, riveting podcasting here. I unfortunately took my little bookmarker strap out of the book here, so I was on the wrong page. So, actually, just quick, just out there to all of my listeners and my friends on the East Coast. Hope you guys are doing all right. They got a literal shitload of snow dumped on them, 24, 25 inches, whatever. I know John was having some familial issues with some power going out, and Duchess has had to deal with snow, and they basically turned the East Coast off, and they're waiting for everything to start over again. But yeah. So anyway, in the spirit of it's fucking cold out, so Aaron wanted to say let's have something good for cold weather food here, which part of me was saying I should do something where it's like, well, what would people have in their cabinets that they could cook without having to go out? And then I said, you know what, Aaron, you don't know what normal people keep in their cabinets because you're not fucking normal. So, anywho, we are going to do another thick and hearty soup, and this is actually one, I really like this recipe. It's not super complicated, but it's delicious. It's one of those ones I've made that I really like it. I made it because I had a bunch of produce to go through, and anyway, so this is a roasted eggplant and tomato soup. And this one's a little more work intensive. This one involves a bit. It's not a quick one. This is like a multiple hours of work kind of thing. To make this soup makes about a half a gallon. You're going to take 1 large eggplant cubed into 2-inch pieces, 1 pound of Roma tomatoes cut into quarters, 1 large red onion just rough chopped, 3 tablespoons of thyme, 3 tablespoons of oregano, 3 tablespoons of basil, 2 tablespoons of minced garlic, which is about 9 cloves. Now, you got to remember, when I was writing a lot of these, it was, production kitchens, and I'm writing them for scale. So, like in my kitchen, we minced our garlic 2 pounds at a time. So we would have 2 quarts of garlic, fresh chopped, pretty much every day. So anyway, yeah. So about 2 tablespoons of minced garlic, 1/8 of a cup of olive oil, and 1 quart of vegetable or chicken stock. Now, what you're going to do is, first you're going to take the diced eggplant, the diced quartered tomatoes, and the rough chopped large red onion. You're going to put them in a big ass bowl. You're going to hit them with the 1/8 of a cup of olive oil, and you're going to add in your thyme, oregano, basil, and minced garlic. You're going to toss them to coat evenly, and then you are going to arrange them on cookie sheet pan, however you want to look at it. And you are going to place them in a 425-degree preheated oven for 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, you're going to reduce the heat to 375, and you're going to roast them for an additional 25 minutes. So that's a total of 40 minutes of those. Your stuff's going to be in the oven, right? Then you're going to take them out. You're going to stir them around. You're going to set the pan on off to the side. You're going to get a big stock pot, right? And you're going to take the big stock pot, and you're going to transfer all of these roasted vegetables into said big stock pot so you can make soup out of them. Then you are going to cover them with your stock, whether it be vegetable or chicken stock. And you are going to bring it up to a boil, and once the stock starts boiling, you're going to turn the heat down to low heat, and you're going to puree the mixture, whether it be with an immersion blender or take it out and put it into a blender, or if you want it chunkier, you don't have to puree it, I guess, is what it comes down to. But I always puree it so it's nice and smooth, but that's how I like it. And then you're going to simmer it for 20 to 25 minutes. Then you are going to serve it, and when I serve it, I like to do a garlic parmesan crostini, which is you take a French roll and you slice it crosswise so you get nice round circles. You brush them with a little olive oil, sprinkle a little garlic powder on them, and then you put a little shredded Parmesan on the top. You pop them in the oven for about 5-6 minutes at 350 degrees till the cheese melts and they get golden brown. You take those, you drop a couple of those in the top of the soup, maybe a little fresh chiffonata basil on the top for a garnish if you want to get fancy with it, and it is just fantastic. It warms you up right to your core. It's a delicious soup. It's simple. It's like I keep saying, good food doesn't have to be super fucking complicated. And the best thing about it is you can always tweak it a little bit to make it more how you like it, how you want it. And it's realistically, like I said, it's just doing the work. And a lot of these things, you can save yourself a ton of money just by making things yourself as opposed to going out and buying something pre-made. And also, making it yourself does give you, like I said, it gives you a lot more control over it. You can customize it. You can make it how you want it instead of how it's being prepared for the masses. Because that's one of those things you got to take into consideration when you're buying a pre-made product, whether it be soup in a jar, whether it be soup in a can, whether it be fucking condensed soup, whether it be fucking pre-made soup from fucking, why did I just blank? Panera. You buy, the pre-made soups from Panera. The thing you need to remember about those is, yeah, they're going to be good. The consistency is going to be, or if you're buying something, it should be consistent where you're going to get what you fucking expect from it. But you're still going to have to do something to it. You're still going to have to tweak it to get it how you like it because it's not made for you. It's made to be the most common denominator, to be acceptable to the most people en masse so they can sell more of it. which is one of those reasons why I'm always a big fan of making things myself or teaching other people how to make things themselves. So, and that's why I'm actually, to go back to plugging myself shamelessly for a couple minutes, that's actually one of the reasons why I decided to launch this spice line. It takes some of the work and some of the steps out of the process, but it will still enable you to make things how you want them in your own kitchen with a less work, because you don't have to guess and tweak and dial these things until you get them where you like them. You can get them fairly consistent, and even if you don't like them, out of the bottle how I make them, at least you know where the baseline is, you know where you're going to start, then you know what you're going to add to it to adjust it. So it's not a catch-all, it's not a save everything, but it is it's a shortcut. It's an aid in the kitchen. So so if you want to go support me on that, that would be phenomenal. I'd really appreciate it, guys. So I'm going to do another quick pause to see what the chat has to say, and if nobody has anything else they want me to talk about, we will move on, and I will put a pin in it for the night. I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts, doodly-doo. Here they are all standing in a row. Short ones, tall ones, some as big as your head. All right, well, haven't heard anything else, so after that lovely rendition of me singing something badly, I'm going to put a pin in it for tonight and say that's what I had to say.